This is all the steps it took me to make the Necronomicon, also known as the Book of the Dead, from Evil Dead. It was a learning experience for sure. I started off and I tried to make a version out of clay, resin, then silicone, and then with latex. And this step here is me melting Vaseline onto the mold that I figured out how to make. And the Vaseline essentially is just so that the latex doesn't adhere to the silicone. And I just paint it on and use my heat tool to melt it in there. And the next step will be to put the latex in there, which I dyed. And you can't really tell from the video, but after it's dried, it'll actually be closer to the dye color that you chose, which I put like one drop of black, so the latex after it dries, it's pretty dark gray / black. So it's actually pretty cool. And after about 24 hours is when I demold the latex Book of the Dead here, and not too many bubbles, not too many flaws, so I was pretty happy with it. The next step is actually stitching the connecting point, kind of like the binding of the book. And I thought this was a really cool feature that I came up with because me not knowing anything about sewing or being a seamstress at all, the end result was actually kind of crude, which kind of works because the Book of the Dead it's like, human skin being sewed together to be this evil book to summon the dead. And I ordered like an actual suture needle, which I used, and I kind of weaved it back and forth very crudely, and to kind of simulate if an evil person or I don't know, like a summoner or something like that were to use it and craft this book, that they would then summon the evil spirits. So I just weaved it back and forth and kind of tucked it in at the end to the latex and ended up gluing it to the latex. So hopefully that was enough to keep it on there and keep it attached. Finally painting the Necronomicon. As you can see from the back, I've actually got another one back there, and I think I may have made something like 8 iterations of these. Again, going from the resin and clay to the silicone to now the latex, and I really liked the texture of the latex because it was kind of rubbery and it kind of reminded me of as if it was like real human skin, which is the book is supposed to be like. And again, like a dark base and kind of building light from there. So going from the black to the dark browns to the mid browns to the highlighted kind of like a ochre type color. And I knew from the beginning that I was going to have to layer it like 3 or 4 times to give like a nice thick layer of paint on there, hoping that if possible, if like some of it might scratch, then it might be more durable. The resin and the clay versions were really durable, and I've actually been walking around with it for a couple of weeks now, and it hasn't gotten damaged. So I'm hoping that the latex version will be just as robust in comparison. So just going back and forth, layering it multiple times, getting it nice and thick, and balancing it out, knowing that, of course, my dark blacks, or the darks and the blacks, have to stand out from all those highlight areas. So I just kind of build up my darks, and then I surround those darks with my lights. It's very similar to, I mean, any art form really, like tattooing. So I just did that back and forth to both sides, and it was acrylic, fortunately, so it dried super quickly. This was a very, very important step just because I was worried about the paint getting chipped off, so I wanted to make sure that I sealed it in there good. At first, I think I had gone a little heavy with the varnish, and some of the paint was actually coming off. So I decided in later iterations to do 2 thin coats and then 2 heavy coats. The thin coats, you can see me kind of dabbing it on, and when I felt like that varnish was dry enough, was coated enough, then I was able to layer on heavier so that it had a nice thick amount to protect that paint underneath. And I just did this, I think, like I said, I think 4 times. Right there you can see I actually made a lighter cover or lighter sleeve. I thought that was pretty cool usage of one of the earlier attempts. I'm not going to say failed, but yeah, earlier attempts. So I just stitched that actually on that lighter. I thought that was pretty neat. So yeah, this is just me going through. I think this is the 3rd step, I believe, and I'm just kind of coating it on pretty heavy and letting it dry for a while, and then doing the 4th one, and hopefully they're enough to make it more durable. And because this thing, this wallet, this card holder is meant to be functional as well, so that you can, it's a daily use thing. You can pull this thing in and out of your pocket, use it every day, and hopefully it'll stay intact, and the paint won't chip off of it. So that's the hope. Thank you so much for watching my process on making the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot from this experience, working with all these different materials and building a mold, and the resin, the silicone, the latex, the dyeing of it, and all of these things. So I appreciate you hanging in and watching me, and hopefully maybe you picked up something and learned something as well. So thank you again.